Okay, so I'm a little bit late. I keep getting messages while I'm talking. Welcome to this week's Q&A. I want to talk about more about the liver, but specifically more about what we need to do before the liver. And last week I talked about non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and the thyroid, and the response has been crazy. If you have not read my blog, go to holisticgen.com and you can read what I wrote there, or go back to last week's Q&A where I talked a lot about the liver and cleansing as well. So I apologize for the dings. Everybody stop messaging me. So you can message me in Facebook Live because that's where I am to answer your questions. So before you can even do a cleanse or look at a protocol or anything else, we have to look at your food. It dawned on me that so many people are doing these cleanses and things just aren't working out right for them, but it's because they're not eating clean already. And so if I'm eating foods that are not really clean, I think they're clean. We don't know what we don't know, right? And so I'm still putting in chemicals in my body. I'm not going to get an effective cleanse. And if I am eating really clean, then yes, we still need a liver cleanse because of our environment. I talked about that before. But we may start feeling a whole lot better even before we do the cleanse. We have to look at these foods. We don't understand until we do, about how much these little things can affect us. You know, if you've ever eaten something that caused a reaction in your body, you know how quickly that can cause a reaction in your body. I have a client who eats gluten and gets a rash inside her nose. Well, it's quick. That's the gluten. Well, what are these other things doing that you just don't know what's going on? Maybe it's affecting you somewhere where you don't have pain receptors. Gluten can do that for a lot of people. They think I have maybe I have shoulder pain, but I don't have stomach issues, so it's not the gluten. Well, sometimes the shoulder pain is related to the gluten. It's creating inflammation somewhere, but maybe it's something else in your food. So I thought today it'd be a great idea to look at some foods. So we're going to kind of do a pantry clean out. Now, I want you to know that I do have a 5-day reset next Monday. It starts Monday. It's the very last 5-day reset that I will be doing. This is our 12th one. It's fabulous. People are always amazed at how good they feel on day 4. Everybody's like, oh, I feel so good. And you're not starving. The food's delicious. And it's for omnivores and plant-based. And it's a great way to try out a whole food plant-based diet. Anyway, I just realized on my other camera, my video is set for blur, and you're going to need to see what I am holding up. Okay, I think that you can see now. Okay, so the first thing I have here, these are called Good Thins. They say gluten-free, made with sea salt. And so someone will bring something like this to me and say, how about this? Can I eat this? And I say, the first thing I always say, I don't care what this says. I want to read the ingredients. Sometimes I don't even really care what this says. I only want to know what is actually in the food. So for this one, it says whole grain yellow cornmeal. Well, for me, I don't eat corn because corn cross-reacts to gluten, and it's one of those that does affect me. It doesn't affect everyone, but it does affect me. Second ingredient, white rice flour. Well, white rice, we already know, can really spike glucose, really give you a blood sugar spike. When we grind it into a flour, this might as well be sugar. And as a matter of fact, it tastes like sugar. And so we have whole grain, yellow cornmeal, and then sugar, basically. And then high oleic safflower oil. And so then it is cooked in oil. And when we eat, not only is that not a healthy oil, when we heat it up, it turns into a trans fat and it's highly inflammatory. So we're spiking your blood sugar and causing inflammation. So would you say that this is a healthy food? No. And so if you're doing a cleanse and you're eating something like this, you're not helping yourself. And so we have to get rid of that. So another one, I showed y'all this one a million times before. So dry roasted peanuts. So you look at this, it just says dry roasted salted peanuts. So you would think it was just peanuts and salt. But when I flip it over, it's peanuts and then contains 2% or less of gelatin, which means they're not vegan, sea salt, sugar, so there's sugar, ingredient number 3, cornstarch, ground corn into a flour. That is going to spike your blood sugar. It might as well be sugar. So that would be another sugar. Yeast, Maltodextrin. Maltodextrin is another sugar made from corn. Corn syrup, that's another sugar. Paprika, spices, natural smoke flavoring. We don't even know what that is. Onion powder and garlic powder and salt. But how many times did I say sugar going through there? Now, they could have put enough sugar in real sugar to make it taste that same way, but then sugar would probably be the first ingredient on here, and they definitely don't want sugar to be the first ingredient on their can of peanuts. But I just wanted you to see that. It doesn't matter what's on the front. We have to flip it over. So what's something else? So people will say, I saw this drink, this aloe vera drink. Aloe is supposed to be really great for your skin, but also your whole mucosal system. So your nose to your anus, your whole digestive system. Someone has stomach issues, whatever. My first rule whenever I talk about aloe is you want pure, organic, latex-free cold pressed aloe juice. And so this is in a plastic bottle. So it's already, I don't know about this. The other thing is when you drink aloe juice, I only recommend 1 ounce up to 3 times a day. That's not very much. This is 16.9 ounces. And so this is more aloe juice than I would tell you to take. And we don't really know how much is actually in here. Now it does say organic. So it has pure water, organic aloe vera pulp, organic sugar cane, ingredient number 3. So this has a lot of sugar, and then citric acid. Well, citric acid can be made from corn, so I wouldn't drink it because it could be corn, which would cause a celiac reaction for me. And then the next one's natural organic flavoring. We don't know what that means. So while this looks like it would be a nice, healthy, clean product, it's got sugar and then citric acid that we don't know where it came from and natural flavoring. So we really don't even know what all is in this drink. Excuse me, didn't mean to cough in your ear. So that tells us why we need to read the ingredients. All right, so then let's look at sunflower butter. I love sun butter, it is so fabulous. But this one is organic roasted sunflower seeds. And when they're roasted at a very high heat very quickly. And that high heat creates inflammation. It changes the chemical structure, which can lead to inflammation. And so it's much better to have a sunflower butter made from raw sunflower seeds. Now, if you can't get that, then the roasted would be your second choice. You want to get raw when you can. Our next ingredient is organic sugar. So it's sun butter roasted at a high heat, and then they added sugar to it. So no wonder it tastes delicious. And then it's sunflower oil. And so it also has added oils. And so that one is also on my no list. Well, here we have spicy brown mustard. And so today I was like, why is this still in my pantry? It's been in here forever. It's because I do demonstrations. And so this one is distilled vinegar, which sometimes you have to look at distilled vinegar at the ingredients. Sometimes it's not gluten-free. And so distilled vinegar can affect some people with celiac. Mustard seed, organic cane sugar. So ingredient number 3 is cane sugar. And then ingredient number 4 is maple syrup. So why do you think they broke it up into cane sugar and maple syrup? To put it lower on the ingredient list. If they had put them all together, it probably would be number 1. So this is probably a very delicious mustard, but definitely not what I would call a food. Something else I wanted to talk about when you are purchasing foods, like this is gluten-free, organic, sprouted oats. Whenever you buy oats, oats are naturally gluten-free. If I grew oats in my backyard, if I had good clean seeds and I grew it in my backyard, it would be gluten-free. But when you buy it from a farm that uses other grains, or they use a trekking company that carries other grains, they don't wash those trucks in between. If they're using belts that they use for other grains, they don't wash all those belts that they put the grains on. And so it's not going to be gluten-free. As a matter of fact, when they test oats, if they're not certified gluten-free, they always contain gluten because they use the same trucks, they use the same belts and equipment, and so there's too much cross-contamination. And so if you have to eat gluten-free, which I recommend most people do, you need to make sure you're buying certified gluten-free oats. And so you want to do that. And so we'll talk about the form of oats at another time. But I just want to make sure that you're buying organic. And the same thing with beans. You want to make sure that you buy beans organic. These do say organic. So even Simple Truth, they'll have that label on there and it won't say organic. So you have to make sure it says organic because they always spray the beans. I'll repeat that. They always spray the beans. They always spray the grains to harvest them because if they have any kind of dampness, that's going to clog up equipment as they're harvesting the beans and the grains. And so they're always sprayed. So you want to make sure they're organic. And unfortunately, they even have special sprays they use when they are organic that they can legally use because it's no longer considered a growing food. There's a loophole in the system. So if you can get beans from a local farmer or local farm, or I believe Rancho Gordo has really clean beans. Anyway, that's something you want to look for. Another thing I wanted to talk about was juice. So anytime you buy a juice, like this says organic tart cherry juice, lower sugar, no sucralose. So that's when it says that, then that's a sign I need to read the ingredients, right? Another thing is not only is it in a glass container, which means it's leaching the plastics. When you buy juice, if it's not a cold pressed juice, it's been pasteurized, which means it's been heated and any enzymes have been killed. So we're pretty much just drinking sugar water. It's got a good flavor. It may have added vitamins in there, but it's not anything like what you would get if you were juicing your own juice. Now, when I read the ingredients, it's filtered water, organic tart cherry juice. And so that's the good thing. It is filtered water and it is tart cherry juice. There's nothing else added in there. A lot of times when you do buy juice, the first ingredient is going to be an apple juice because apple juice is sweet. And so they add apple juice to a lot of them. Excuse me. If I can't buy cold pressed juice and I need juice for something, then I will buy organic. I prefer glass over plastic and I make sure that it is only filtered water and organic juice. But like I said, you want cold pressed glass bottle if you have to purchase it or get a juicer. Something else I wanted to talk about was dried fruit. Whenever you buy dried fruit, this one is, you want to look at the back. So this one says, or dried figs, potassium sorbate, and sulfur dioxide added for freshness. There are a lot of people who have sulfur issues. This can cause headaches in a lot of people too. And so you want to make sure that when you buy your dried fruits, that they don't have these in there. You're probably going to have to buy them in bulk or at an organic, a health food store, maybe in Whole Foods, but you just want to make sure that you're really reading the ingredients for any of those hidden chemicals. Eating this and doing a cleanse, eating this even before a cleanse, that's not going to help my liver. Salad dressings. So this is a Newman's Own garlic vinaigrette and marinade. And so a lot of people like Newman's Own. This one, number one ingredient is canola oil, and it doesn't say organic. Well, canola oil is normally GMO. I don't know if this is non-GMO certified. It does not say non-GMO certified. And so, and people will say there's nothing, no such thing as canola. Yes, there is. The plant, they actually grow them here where we live. They look like sunflowers. They're actually absolutely gorgeous driving by a field. But they're most likely GMO. The next ingredient, apple cider vinegar. The next ingredient is sugar, and then garlic, salt, black pepper, xanthan gum, which is a thickener. Xanthan gum, sometimes it can be irritating to some people and sometimes not. But because it's got number one ingredients, canola oil, that's not a healthy oil, and it has the added sugar, I would say no. And then I have a lot more to show you, but I'm running out of time. The next one is, this is a blend of stevia and monk fruit. And we hear about stevia and monk fruit as being a healthy choice. It doesn't spike your blood sugar, but I want you to see this. So here is our monk fruit with stevia. So does this look like a plant? Monk fruit and stevia are both parts of a plant, but this looks just like granulated sugar if I bought that in the store, right? Even cane sugar, if I buy cane sugar or coconut sugar, it's going to look like this, right? This, I grabbed the wrong container. Well, I'll have to pour some in my hand to show you. Here is stevia. If I make my own stevia extract from the leaves, I should have brought the leaves over. I didn't. Look at what color that is. Do you think if I dried this, it would be white like that? No, this is made from stevia leaves. And so this is going to be handled by the body a lot better than this. Natural product, not a natural product. And then the monk fruit too, it doesn't have a little spoon, but it looks just like this. I picked up the wrong jar. This is what monk fruit looks like. It's brown. It doesn't look like this. And so I just wanted you to see. So if you're buying stevia or monk fruit and it looks like granulated sugar, comes in those little white packets and looks like that, that is not a healthy choice. That's not what you want to use. And then the final one is probiotics. I think everyone needs to take some form of probiotics. You want to work with somebody, a practitioner who knows you and your health. But I really like this brand, Seeking Health. And so when you're looking for probiotics, that is a good place to look. And I like to look for gentle ones. Like there's some that they end in infantis, infant. And so those are a little bit more gentle. And so I do think everyone should have probiotics. When you order them, track them, get them as soon as they get here and stick them in the refrigerator. They're only going to stay live if they're kept cold. Maybe you live somewhere where it's cold all the time, but you want to make sure that you're using probiotics to help with your gut, especially when you're going through a cleanse. Now, work with a practitioner because you may have something going on in the gut where probiotics or certain forms are better than others for sure. Bifido and lactobacillus are usually the ones that we need the most of. And so you want to look for brands that include those, unless your practitioner tells you to use something a little bit different. Anyway, I hope this was helpful for you. I have a 5-day reset that starts on Monday. We have a kickoff call on Saturday coming up. That will be November the 4th. And so I hope that you will join us. It's a whole food cleanse. It's a perfect time to try out a whole food plant-based diet if you've never done that before, or just to eat really clean for a week. I teach you all about live whole foods live on Saturday. And then again on Wednesday, we'll have another class the Wednesday of that week, the 8th. So if you want more information, I will put information down in the link below. Let me double check and make sure I don't have any messages. I did have someone who asked me about beans. How many beans can I eat? What would be a serving for me? And that is a really, really tricky question because we're all unique. And so the first thing I said was, have you tested your blood sugar? Because that will be the number one indicator of how many beans, what's the serving size for you. For me, a quarter cup will keep me from spiking my blood sugar, but if I eat a half a cup, I will spike blood sugar. And so I think it's very important to check that because if your blood sugar is out of control, everything's out of control, and it's also not going to help you on your cleanse. So I don't see. Oh, next is, do I intermittent fast? Yes and no. I don't eat in a 12-hour period. Some people do better on 16. Some people only eat twice a day. I'm not one of those people. It's not a one size fits all. You have to find what's going to work best for you. Anyway, have a great week. I will talk to you soon.